All right. Thank you so much, Grace. Well, it is time right now to get those legal questions answered. I want to go ahead and get your call in queue. Here's how you do it. Dial 256-536-0077. So you can see here, Michael Timberlake with our friends over at Timberlake League and Brooks is joining us. And as always, a pleasure to have you with us on a Monday.
It's always good to be here.
We love having you here. And while we wait for those callers, we're going to go ahead and talk about our topic, which is defective medical products.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we get a lot of, talk to a lot of people about are claims against medical providers, hospitals, doctors, nurses, those types of things. But there's also claims that can be made against medical device manufacturers. It can be prescription drugs. There's been a lot of litigation over CPAP machines, other types of defective medical products. And those claims are a little bit different than pursuing claims against healthcare providers because it's based upon a products liability statute where you have to prove that the product is defective. And that means not only did it potentially fail or break or cause a problem, but it has to be something that the manufacturer knew or should have known about it at the time that they were designing the product. So you have to prove that the product is defective and that it caused an injury, not just that an injury resulted as a result of the use of the product. The other thing that we see a lot in pharmaceutical legislation is, litigation is, the federal government, the Federal Drug Administration can approve a specific product or a specific drug for a particular purpose. That can provide some immunity for the manufacturers of these products. If it is approved, they can say that the federal FDA approved the product and therefore that people cannot be sued because or for claims alleging the product was defective. So there's a lot of protections in place here.
We have a call right now from Renee. Renee, you ready to ask your question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Which question, Renee?
Okay. I have a bus stop sign on my telephone pole, and the problem that I'm having with this is everyone throws their trash out and sits out there, and they just wreck my property. Can I put up a no trespassing sign?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I hate that people aren't being more conscious about what they're doing, but really kind of the situation that you're dealing with is if there is a bus stop sign there, more than likely the city has an easement or a right to use that property for that purpose. So it can be your property, but they've got a right to be on it and use it. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to put up a no trespassing sign. My suggestion would be to talk to the city transportation department about the problem and say, look, the people that are using public transportation are trashing my property, and I shouldn't be responsible for picking it up. Right. But I don't think you could say they're technically not trespassing. They're allowed to be there.
But you could petition the city clearly to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. It's their problem. They should fix it.
I agree. We do have another caller on the line.
Great.
Don, good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead with your question.
Yes, I have a question. Is there a source a person can go to find out which lawyers specialize in what fields?
That's a really good question, because you'll have, a lot of times, lawyers that'll advertise, and, our firm does personal injury work. We, we advertise that that's the accident and injury law. That's the kind of thing that we do. But there's other lawyers that do different types of things. But in Alabama, there's not necessarily, we don't have specialties amongst our bar and, that are approved by our bar association. Other states do. They can have, a specialist in estate planning or specialist in wills and, wills and trusts or things like that. But Alabama doesn't have that. So typically what you're looking at is a situation where you're relying upon the lawyers to tell you what they do and what they're good at. And sometimes, sometimes they're, very good at advertising and will tell you how great they are at everything. And that's, just typically not the case. What I would look into is, look at for reviews amongst people that you trust that know attorneys that work in the area. So if it's, if it's a judge, if it's somebody that works in the courthouse, if it's somebody that is a lawyer, those are probably the best sources for recommendations for people in any specific area. Our firm does this all the time. If you've got a question about a lawyer in a specific area, I'd be more than happy to give you my advice or my suggestion about who would be good in your area to take the case.
That's awesome. But not everybody operates like that. You're very kind to do that.
Well, it's kind of a public service. There is a bar referral line, but a lot of times it's not necessarily based upon any recommendation. It's just based upon people put their name on a list, and that's what they do.
Okay.
Well, if you didn't get your question answered, we have Law Call every Monday, and of course, you can always call our friends at Timberlake League and Brooks. Michael, it's good to have you with us today.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.